The good old FBI. What a wholesome history that it has, and wholesome people that it brings. And in 2013, we had the Harlem Shake, we had Frozen, we had Breaking Bad, and we had James Comey. James Comey was a good old American man. He was an attorney or a prosecutor since 1987 to 2001. He helped with the Kabar Tower bombing case in 1996 that killed 19 Americans.
What I really want to do here and now is just to make sure those 19 families know, yes, we remember. We remember the names of these courageous men. They're on your screen right now. These 19 lives mattered. They're heroes who made the ultimate sacrifice, and we must never forget them. June 25th, 1996. And that's my off-the-record comment tonight.
After his long years as a prosecutor, he decided to join Lockheed Martin as a vice president in 2005. He only did 5 years there. Apparently they wasn't paying enough, because later he joined a hedge fund, one of the richest hedge funds in America, where his net worth spiked up to $14 million. And he was also making $7 million annually. So, yeah. And also they called him the Godfather while he was working there, which is pretty strange. But Obama, you know, he's seen the wholesome man that he was, and he said his resume did not, make an effect on him choosing him as the FBI director.
I'll tell you, I interviewed a number of extraordinary candidates for this job, all with sterling credentials. But what gave me confidence that this was the right man for the job wasn't his degrees and wasn't his resume. It was in talking to him and seeing his amazing family, a sense that this is somebody who knows what's right and what's wrong.
Obama may had some faith in him, but during his time as the FBI director under the Obama administration, some of the most tragic events happened in American history, and we're going to go through a few.
On December 2nd, 2015, the Inland Regional Center in San Bernardino, California, became the site of a horrific act of terrorism. A married couple, Syed Rizwan Farouk and Tashfeen Malik, perpetrated a mass shooting and an attempted bombing during a San Bernardino County Department of Public Health training event and Christmas party. Tragically, the attack resulted in the loss of 14 lives, with an additional 22 individuals suffering severe injuries.
Good afternoon, everybody. So this originally started off at 11 o'clock this morning, late this morning, early afternoon. We received a call here at the Inland Regional Center, 1400 block of South Waterman, of a shooting. It was quickly apparent that we had what amounted to an active shooter situation. There was a massive law enforcement response that initially was officers from our department that responded, and then very quickly, as word spread through the region, we had a massive mutual aid response from virtually every law enforcement agency in the immediate area, to include the Sheriff's Department, Colton Police Department, Fontana Police Department, the California Highway Patrol, Probation Department, Parole. A number of agencies responded.
Around 3 p.m. this afternoon, a massive manhunt for the armed gunman in California came to a head.
We are in pursuit of the suspect vehicle. We've got shots fired out the back window.
Our affiliate KABC on the scene, hovering above this black SUV that the authorities had been searching for 3 hours.
We got multiple officers here. We got officers running here, back eastbound, chasing. Now we're on foot. Look at all those units here. This is where a suspect is at.
Multiple shots that were fired.
Windows blown out, that front door ajar, and police crouching at a safe distance away. But this was the scene moments earlier, captured on camera by neighbors.
Oh my gosh. Guys, they just shot at my house right now. It's cops all over the yard. Holy shit.
This was the shootout that our cameras missed. One neighbor out in the front yard, and another crouching down in his garage. What sounds like fireworks is a firefight. Police raining bullets on that SUV.
The left side, driver's side, completely blown out. This was a very, very graphic shootout.
A body lying in the street feet away. That black SUV riddled with bullets.
When you hear that this is now the worst mass shooting since Sandy Hook, what do you think?
It's intense. You don't realize what it is until you get out of the situation.
What lessons will you take from this?
So many. Don't take anything for granted. I mean, I have a 2.5-year-old daughter. Sorry. So I thought about her.
You thought about your daughter?
Yeah.
I want to let you know I'm in Orlando, and I did the shooting.
What's your name?
My name is, I pledge of allegiance to Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi of the Islamic State.
It is Latin night at The Pulse, a gay nightclub in downtown Orlando, packed with 320 people. And this video of people dancing taken just last night, and then at 2:02 a.m., bartenders announcing last call, when suddenly the gunfire.
You could start smelling the ammunition in the air, like it smelled like fire.
Was your instinct to hit the ground?
I just wanted to get as low to the floor as I could and try to crawl into safety.
As that gunfire erupted, you could hear it from the outside.
Oh my God, they're all shooting back and forth.
Our officer engaged in a gun battle with that suspect. The suspect at some point went back inside the club where more shots were fired.
You see people screaming and falling, and there was blood everywhere.
The nightclub has 3 main areas: the hip-hop room, the main bar with the dance floor, and a patio area. Some people escaping out this side door and into this small alleyway. Jean-Yel telling me he crawled on the floor, reaching through the curtains to find a sliver of an exit, but that people were climbing over one another to get out. People were jumping over you?
People were trying to jump over me, like pushing my head down, like it's a state of panic, like we just wanted to get out.
Police say that he walked into that church around 8 o'clock Wednesday night. After sitting in Bible study for an hour, he opened fire on those church members, killing 9 people. The search, as you see here, began immediately after. Well, surveillance images were released later in the day. Someone in Shelby, North Carolina, actually spotted him driving and called cops. Well, yesterday afternoon, he waived extradition and was brought back to Charleston County, where he's now facing 9 counts of murder.
Year-old Dylan Roof could hear the families, but he could not see them. Bond was set at $1 million on one of the charges. Justice correspondent Jeff Pegues has more from that hearing. Jeff?
Scott, Dylan Roof is being held in a jail cell in a building behind this barbed wire fence. We're told that he's in solitary confinement and under suicide watch.
What is your age?
21. Dylan Roof stood emotionless as he heard the charges against him. 9 counts of murder for the 3 men and 6 women investigators say he gunned down Wednesday night.
Charleston is a very strong community. We have big hearts.
From the bench, Chief Magistrate James Gosnell expressed sympathy and support for both the victims of the shooting and Roof's family.
We must find it in our heart at some point in time, not only to help those that are victims, but to also help his family as well.
The Dallas protest began like all other marches held Thursday against police brutality. Hundreds of demonstrators denounced violence against Black Americans. But when the protesters arrived about half a mile from City Hall, the situation turned into chaos as gunshots were heard. 1 or more snipers targeted police officers securing the demonstration. Posted in an elevated spot, they hit 11 policemen. These images show several policemen on the ground as shots keep coming. Backup forces then evacuated their colleagues, while others tried to hunt down the snipers. They cornered one in an upper floor of a garage.
The suspect that we are negotiating with, that has exchanged gunfire with us over the last 45 minutes, has told our negotiators that the end is coming and he's going to hurt and kill more of us meaning law enforcement, and that there are bombs all over the place in this garage and in downtown.
Other suspects were arrested in a car speeding away from the area. The mayor of Dallas said all the city should unite and pray for the victims.
Let's all come together and support our police officers.
With the investigation now zeroing in on that one suspect, we know his name is Micah Johnson, a 25-year-old former Army reservist with military skills and no criminal record, and who we learned there told police negotiators he wanted to kill white people, especially white officers. ABC senior justice correspondent Pierre Thomas on the chilling motive.
This is the deadly sniper, Micah Xavier Johnson, a former military man who was apparently harboring deep racial hatred, especially against white police officers.
He was upset about Black Lives Matter. He said he was upset about the recent police shootings.
Johnson's Facebook page reveals some of that rage against police. He liked a page which said, "Kill everything blue that moves." Police say Johnson embraced a radical form of Afrocentrism. And law enforcement sources tell ABC News he was armed for his shooting spree with an assault rifle and 2 handguns. Johnson served in the Army Reserve from 2009 to 2015, doing a tour in Afghanistan. Today, when police searched Johnson's home in Mesquite, Texas, they say they found bomb-making materials, ballistic vests, rifles, and a personal journal for combat tactics.
This guy lived around the corner from me and was willing to take people's lives that he didn't even know. You know, it's scary.
But James Comey did not have the easiest time as an FBI director, but things was about to get more interesting when Trump and Hillary Clinton's presidential election came up.
Do you condemn any interference by Russia in the American election?
By Russia or anybody else?
You condemn their interference?
Of course I condemn. Of course I can. I don't know Putin. I have no idea. I never met Putin. This is not my best friend. But if the United States got along with Russia, wouldn't be so bad. Let me tell you, Putin has outsmarted her and Obama at every single step of the way, whether it's Syria, you name it, missiles. Take a look at the startup that they signed. The Russians have said, according to many, many reports, I can't believe they allowed us to do this. They create warheads and we can't. The Russians can't believe it. She has been outsmarted by Putin, and all you have to do is look at the Middle East. They've taken over. We've spent $6 trillion. They've taken over the Middle East. She has been outsmarted and outplayed worse than anybody I've ever seen in any government whatsoever.
We're a long way away
from there. It appeared today that the president-elect is having a change of tweet. Here's Major Garrett.
In the past 24 hours, Mr. Trump offered 2 tweets that, for the first time, accepted the possibility of politically motivated Russian hacking. This morning, Mr. Trump acknowledged that the hack revealed damaging information about the Democratic National Committee. Yesterday, he wrote, "If Russia or some other entity was hacking, why did the White House wait so long to act? Why did they only complain after Hillary lost?" In fact, intelligence officials publicly blamed Russia in October, a full month before the election. But the tweets contrast with Mr. Trump's previous skepticism that Russia was responsible.
Could also be lots of other people. It also could be somebody sitting on their bed that weighs 400 pounds, okay?
Last night, Hillary Clinton told her major donors that the Moscow-ordered hacking led to her defeat. The New York Times obtained audio of the remarks.
Vladimir Putin himself directed the covert cyber attacks against our electoral system, against our democracy, apparently because he has a personal beef against me. This is an attack against our country.
I'm honored to be here representing the people of the FBI. I hope we have shown you through our actions and our words how much we at the FBI value your oversight of our work and how much we respect your responsibility to investigate those things that are important to the American people. Thank you for showing that both are being taken very seriously. As you know, our practice is not to confirm the existence of ongoing investigations, especially those investigations that involve classified matters. But in unusual circumstances, where it is in the public interest, it may be appropriate to do so, as Justice Department policies recognize. This is one of those circumstances. I have been authorized by the Department of Justice to confirm that the FBI, as part of our counterintelligence mission, is investigating the Russian government's efforts to interfere in the 2016 presidential election. And that includes investigating the nature of any links between individuals associated with the Trump campaign and the Russian government, and whether there was any coordination between the campaign and Russia's efforts. As with any counterintelligence investigation, this will also include an assessment of whether any crimes were committed. Because it is an open, ongoing investigation and is classified, I cannot say more about what we are doing and whose conduct we are examining.
The president has repeatedly talked about the Russian investigation into the U.S. Or the Russia's involvement in the U.S. election cycle as a hoax and as fake news. Can you talk a little bit about what you saw as FBI director, and obviously only the parts that you can share in this setting, that demonstrate how serious this action actually was and why there was an investigation in the first place?
Yes, sir. There should be no fuzz on this whatsoever. The Russians interfered in our election during the 2016 cycle. They did it with purpose, they did it with sophistication, they did it with overwhelming technical efforts, and it was an active measures campaign driven from the top of that government. There is no fuzz on that. It is a high confidence judgment of the entire intelligence community, and the members of this committee have seen the intelligence. It's not a close call. That happened. That's about as unfake as you can possibly get, and is very, very serious, which is why it's so refreshing to see a bipartisan focus on that, because this is about America, not about any particular party.
He's become more famous than me.
This is all bad judgment. Probably illegal. We'll have to find out what the FBI says about it. But certainly it was bad judgment. I just read the report. It's devastating, the report.
Although we did not find clear evidence that Secretary Clinton or her colleagues intended to violate laws governing the handling of classified information, there is evidence that they were extremely careless in their handling of very sensitive, highly classified information.
Based on what was being said, she was guilty. She was guilty. And it turned out that we're not going to press charges. It's really amazing. Today is the best evidence ever that we've seen that our system is absolutely, totally rigged.
It sure looks real careless to me. The question of whether that amounts to gross negligence, frankly, there's no way anybody at the Department of Justice is bringing a case against John Doe or Hillary Clinton.
The FBI is reopening their investigation. I have to give the FBI credit. That was so bad what happened originally, and it took guts for Director Comey to make the move that he made in light of the kind of opposition he had. What he did, he brought back his reputation. He's become more famous than me.
The FBI, as part of our counterintelligence mission, is investigating the Russian government's efforts to interfere in the 2016 presidential election. And that includes investigating the nature of any links between individuals associated with the Trump campaign and the Russian government. With respect to the president's tweets about alleged wiretapping directed at him by the prior administration, I have no information that supports those tweets.
January 21st, 2017.
One day after President Trump is sworn in, hundreds of thousands of demonstrators take to the streets, among them the wife and daughters of FBI Director James Comey.
Take us inside your house at that point. You've written about this. Your wife, Patrice, Hillary Clinton supporter.
Oh, yeah. And I didn't take a poll among all the kids, but I'm pretty sure that at least my 4 daughters, probably all 5 of my kids, wanted Hillary Clinton to be the first woman president.
I wanted a woman president really badly, and I supported Hillary Clinton. A lot of my friends worked for her, and I was devastated when she lost.
So what went through your mind when you saw that letter come out 10 days before the election?
Secretary Clinton, any reaction to Director Comey reopening his investigation into your emails?
Whoa. Here's the thing. I knew that if there were emails that pertained to this investigation on Anthony Weiner's laptop, the FBI had to go get them. They had to. And as a supporter of Hillary Clinton, I wanted her to say, that's what I want the FBI to do. Of course they have to do that. I don't want them on Anthony Weiner's computer, and I'm sure it's innocent, but that's what they have to do. But instead, I felt like she attacked the institution and my husband, and I was disappointed. I still wanted her to win. And I have a bias. I know I have a bias because I love my husband and I trust him.
May 9th, James Comey is in Los Angeles talking to FBI employees when he finds out he's fired.
You are hereby terminated and removed from office effective immediately.
That's it, the pinnacle of your professional career. It's over.
Yep. Over in a flash. Yeah.
After he was fired, he started living his best life. He started posting on his social media accounts about his life, you know, minding his business. I believe he wrote a couple of books, enjoying his wife, you know, making sure he showed who he wanted to vote for. Until one day, he started, you know, going to the beach. He had a beach walk recently, and he's seen some seashells that he wanted to share with everybody. Now, I don't know what was going through this former FBI director's head when he decided to post some seashells showing 8647. Now, in case you might not know, let me explain what 8647 means. It might be obvious to some, but just in case, let me explain. So 86 just basically means to discard or cancel something. When I worked in the restaurant, you know, food industry, whenever we would run out of something, we would say 86 bread. And of course, 47 means the 47th president. And when you put those two numbers together, you get 8647. So the internet took this as a message and they went crazy.
Does James Comey's explanation of this pass any straight-face test? A shell formation, which is a threat to Donald Trump's life, is just something he came across on the beach.
Yeah, of course he did. He also came across the abominable snowman and Sasquatch while he was walking along on the beach. Listen.
It's a very serious topic is that James Comey wants us to believe, and we have this photo here, that he saw a cool, these are his words, cool shell formation on my beach walk. And the cool shell formation, according to the person who used to be in charge of the FBI, shows shells in the shape of 8647. 86 is common restaurant lingo, of course, for denying service to somebody. But after about 30 seconds of Googling, you can see that a good chunk of people all around the world also associate 86 with meaning to kill somebody. An old mob saying, basically, you take somebody 8 miles outside of town and then you put them 6 feet
under the
in
law.
The ground.
Do you believe Comey should be in jail?
I do. Any other person with the position of influence that he has
people who take very seriously what a guy of his stature, his experience, and what the propaganda media has built him up to be, I'm very concerned for the president's life. We've already seen assassination attempts. I'm very concerned for his life. And James Comey, in my view, should be held accountable and put behind bars for this.
And Director, let me tell you, these people are busted. And so for Jim Comey, that's why I said earlier, Jim, if you get this message, start thinking about what you're gonna give up, because you're gonna give up some of your freedom because you're gonna go to jail. You must go to jail because of what you did. But maybe they'll cut you a little bit of a deal, and they'll put you in a softer prison for a shorter period of time because you're able to give up some evidence on some of these other people who are even more deeper than you involved in this. Because Jim, you know exactly who I'm talking about.
So James did end up deleting the post with the 8647 seashells, and he posted a statement saying, I posted earlier a picture of some seashells I saw today on a beach walk, which I assumed were a political message. I didn't realize some folks associated those numbers with violence. It never occurred to me, but I oppose violence of any kind, so I took the post down. Now, Donald Trump did respond, and this is what he had to say.
A child knows what that meant. If you're the FBI director and you don't know what that meant assassination. And it says it loud and clear. Now, he wasn't very competent, but he was competent enough to know what that meant. And he did it for a reason, and he was hit so hard. Because people like me, and they like what's happening with our country. Our country's become respected again, and all this. And he's calling for the assassination of the president.
Obviously, he apologized and said he wasn't calling for violence. But
look, he's a very bad.
What do you want to see happen?
What do you want to see happen? I don't want to take a position on it because that's going to be up to Pam and all of the great people. But I will say this: I think it's a terrible thing. And when you add his history to that, if he had a clean history, he doesn't. He's a dirty cop. He's a dirty cop.
The FBI got a wind of this, and not only is the DHS and Secret Service is investigating him for the post, but they're looking into something else.
This is big. Under the leadership of new FBI Director Kash Patel and Deputy Director Dan Bongino, the Bureau has reportedly launched an investigation into the agency's plan to infiltrate President Trump's first campaign using 2 female undercover agents. The Washington Times reporting that the program was launched in 2015 by then FBI Director James Comey. The honeypot scheme was actually kept off the books, and according to a whistleblower, Comey's investigation was separate from Crossfire Hurricane. You, of course, know that as the FBI's operation that looked into allegations Trump's campaign colluded with Russia. A whistleblower disclosure says, quote, the case had no predicated foundation, so Comey personally directed the investigation without creating an official case file in Sentinel or any other FBI system. The FBI has multiple methods of protecting highly sensitive investigations, so Comey did not have a legitimate reason not to officially create an official investigation file or have a file number. FBI leaders are reportedly looking for those once undercover agents who are said to have infiltrated the Trump campaign at high levels.
Now, he definitely is getting investigated with this situation. They went ahead and picked him up. You know, they might be questioning him further, looking into this. And it's just crazy how everything went full circle, you know, all off of a post. And you really got to give him an applause because it's crazy.
The fired FBI Director, James Comey! The deep state hero, James Comey! The Democrat hero, James Comey! You did it! He illegally investigated Donald Trump! Thank you, Comey, for weaponizing the FBI against Donald Trump! Thank you for covering up Hillary Clinton's crimes and setting the stage for the FBI to cover up the Biden crimes, too. Come on, y'all! Let's hear it for James Comey! Come on, we love the FBI! We love the federal government!
Okay, so let's go back to the original post and let me wrap up my thoughts. I did not think this post meant that he wanted to assassinate the president. I think it's ridiculous how people jump to that, especially people on the right. And it's definitely not a good look for the administration, the current administration, with all these new people, when they was just crying about Trump's indictment. They was just crying about, you know, freedom of speech on the internet. And yeah, I know James Comey was, you know, hired under the Obama administration. He comes from big establishment with the hedge fund background, Lockheed Martin. But let's be honest. The right is starting to look like hypocrites.
Imagine if I had done any of this. Let me just, I just want to be clear about this. Imagine that